Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Well, hey, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. We've got a really unique one today because we're going to talk a little bit about some fears that we have. And I didn't realize this whenever we had put this down like a couple months ago about this topic, but hey, like Halloween is in like a couple of days whenever this goes live. So
oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how much we hate it.
Are
Just
we
kidding.
recording?
Is it recording? Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
That came. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah,
it did. Ready.
I know, dude. Whenever I hit it, it's ready to go. It's ready to go.
Talking about being ready.
Talking about Jesus is coming.
Amen.
Soon we'll be going home. Let's talk about those.
That's a good way to get. That's a good way to get started.
Let's talk about things that you.
Let me just tell you right now.
Bad theology.
Yeah, on that topic.
Oh,
was it Saturday night? We were attending baptism bash.
Yeah.
Here at the church, and this will sound weird to people listening without context.
Yeah.
But when Jessica was talking to the families that were doing the baptism, she kept saying something about going to heaven. She said it once, and I was like,
No big deal.
She said it again, and I whispered to Megan, I said, if she says that one more time, I'm going to literally scream. And I heard it 2 Sundays ago as well. I think it might have been Cheryl or somebody like that. Or it might have been Jessica during the welcome as well. And to everyone listening that thinks, oh my goodness, what's wrong with Scott? Why does he not like that phrase? Just add that to the list of phrases that I think that people use that they don't really understand what they're saying. And I think that we should focus more on new creation than heaven, which I think if you know anything about me by this point, everyone should know that. So that does.
Or heaven could be coming here.
Yes, that's probably the better way of saying it. Heaven coming here.
Yeah.
We will be with Jesus after we die, until he brings the new heavens and the new earth when he returns.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that at the end of this current series that we're doing. But yeah, that's a great way to start off a podcast about all my quirks of my fears and the things that I don't like, which is why my wife is on this podcast today, so she can add some color commentary to all of these weirdness.
And hopefully
me.
just like so people can understand maybe a little bit better, because the way that we describe ourselves, like if I dislike something, I'm going to say it and flat out, and that's just what it is. But if Erica was here, she'd be like, okay, so this is the reason why he doesn't like this, and there's a whole backstory to this, and so you have to go back to the beginning, and let's go through this, and this is why Jared doesn't like this.
Yeah.
But, so I'm glad that you're here.
And we just spent 10 days together, Meghan and I.
Out in the middle of the ocean.
A trip, and so she's got plenty of examples of things that I have said, even in the last 10 days, that I don't like or don't appreciate.
Yeah.
Or things that have irritated me.
Pretty sure I called him a 4-year-old about 87 times during our 10-day trip.
I'm not even that old yet, and I feel like I'm already that old man.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, get off my lawn type.
I mean, you're already starting to move to like shoes with no shoelaces.
Yeah, I do love that. I do love my shoes. I actually have my shoes off as we speak right now.
Nice.
And it feels glorious.
Yeah. So Pastor Anna told me to point this out. He said, if you really want to get to know Scott, just go back and listen to all of his sermons and the way that he starts it off. It sounds like a Jerry Seinfeld comedy bit, because he always says, don't you hate it when? And then he gets saying something, and then like she says, always in the back of her mind, like that little bass line starts playing like from Seinfeld. But so obviously bad theology is just one of those things. And I think that over time, like I think that we have slowly been combating those things. We're actually going to talk a lot about this in a sermon series coming
Starting in January.
And so we don't want to spoil too much about that conversation, but you definitely want to stay tuned for that. And I think that we've covered quite a bit of your dislikes of food, things that you hate food-wise.
Yeah.
If it's green, except for like...
I like green beans.
With a lot of bacon grease and...
Bacon.
Just as long as they're seasoned.
He doesn't like fresh green beans.
No, I do not like fresh green beans. I only like canned green beans.
Yeah, fresh
like-
green beans,
okay.
they're squeaky.
Yeah, what's wrong with fresh
They're,
green beans? Why can't they just be more like canned green
They're
beans?
real green. I mean, they're like fresh.
Yeah, they're too chewy. I want it to almost be like I don't even need teeth for them, right?
Like cotton candy,
Yeah.
green beans.
I don't want to have to chew them.
Yeah.
And then they are squeaky. Like, it makes
Yeah.
me feel like I've got a dog toy in my mouth.
Right?
They're just gross. Real
Yeah.
green beans, stop with it.
Yeah.
Stop. Some things we don't need the real thing of.
Yeah, like fake green beans. I mean, it's real green beans
They're
in the
real-
can.
So then how do they make them so much better in the can?
Well,
I
and
think they already cook them because you
they're-
got to like sanitize it and like.
Is that what it is?
They're
Or-
kind of pre-cooked a little bit,
Ah,
tiny
see?
bit. But if you were to eat them straight out of a can, they would still be a little tough. That's
Yeah,
why you
but
cook them down.
I
for
really
a little
like
while.
what's the ones I like? The French
The
ones?
French
Yeah, those are
style.
the best.
The ones that are basically like eating
Dude.
seaweed.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
Erica
love
likes
it.
those and I hate
Oh,
it.
they're the best.
No, there's no point in
Absolutely
No,
love those.
no point at all. They're terrible.
So no, not all green stuff. I do. I like kiwi. That's green, right?
it. Yeah,
Although I don't
fruits
like
are kind of like
seeds.
off the table though.
I don't like the seeds.
You don't like the seeds in kiwis?
Most fruits that I actually like, if the seeds are a problem, I won't eat it. So like I like strawberries, but I won't eat them very much because I get those little seeds in my mouth
Yeah.
on the outside of it. I like kiwi,
I've never
but I
met
won't
a
mess
person
with it.
actually have strawberry seeds in their mouth.
You can get, they get in your teeth.
Yeah, they're
I don't
there.
believe either one of you.
I'll eat chocolate covered strawberries because the chocolate overrides the seeds.
Yeah.
But yeah, like stuff that's like really seedy. That's probably why I don't like rice either.
Yeah, but rice don't get stuck in your teeth.
No, but I mean, if anyone doesn't think that rice looks like maggots, I don't know. I can't trust that person. I mean, they look exactly the same.
I'm not sure
No.
how we're married.
Yeah.
then
I mean, I'll
because-
eat some rice. I mean, I ate rice at a Japanese restaurant last week. It was fantastic. But
Yeah,
most, white rice literally looks like bugs.
I kind of got frustrated because whenever we had that worship team gathering, I was like, man, I really want Scott to try this red beans and rice because I've been trying to talk it up for a little bit. And you
I actually only ate grape salad that whole day.
I know.
Because I do. Of all the things that I don't like, I love me some grape salad.
Yeah. Now, is there like one specific vegetable that you just absolutely despise? And if you could pick, you would say, I'm done
Broccoli.
with this. Broccoli. Like,
Yeah, without
you
even
would wipe
thinking.
it from the face of the
Yeah,
earth?
it smells so bad. When Megan makes it at home, I literally want to move.
I
like,
thought
it
that was
smell-
Brussels sprouts.
That too. Oh my gosh, those are tied.
Brussels
They-
sprouts are
They
pretty bad.
smell so bad. All of it smells so bad when it's cooked. It's just like having a foot everywhere you go. It just smells like a foot all day long. Like I was at on the front part of that trip. We were in Orlando. I was at Church of God Convention, and one of the dinners was a plated dinner catered by the hotel or whatever. So you know how at hotels they put those little lids on top of the things to keep stuff warm?
Yeah.
Well, let me just, if you're a hotel person out there, let me help you out real quick. If you make broccoli and keep it covered up like that, then the really crappy thing for that plate is now everything tastes and smells like broccoli. Because you have trapped that putrid smell in that little cubby hole.
And now your chicken.
To where the chicken, the potatoes, the gravy, all of it smells and tastes like broccoli, and you've now ruined the whole plate. I mean, broccoli is the most putrid thing. I don't know, Brussels sprouts. When she said Brussels sprouts, good Lord.
Yeah.
When she cooks those, literally, I want to pack a bag and go somewhere for the weekend.
Oof. Now, do you have any like food-related fears?
fears.
Like
Carrots.
actually, like
I do have a grudge on carrots because they tried to kill me when I was a kid. Yeah, I'm upset with carrots because I went to a daycare that had this rule. Now, granted, it was my mom's daycare, so I mean,
yeah,
I'm guessing that we would do things differently now.
yeah.
That's probably why we do things differently
But
now, because of you.
the cook at this time there was not the most experienced person to be making food for that many kids.
Yeah.
And he grossly undercooked the carrots to the point where they were still pretty much solid carrots
Yeah.
like you would get,
Yeah.
like without being cooked. And he cut them in huge chunks. And so there was this rule there that you had to try everything on your plate.
Yeah.
Which I now understand from some people I've seen Facebook posts like, you're not supposed to do that to kids. Like, I don't know, you can let them find their way or whatever. Well, that wasn't how we did stuff at this daycare. So I had to try this carrot, and I knew I had to try this carrot. And so I get the bright idea that I'm going to swallow this carrot whole so I don't have to taste it.
Oh yeah, but it's a
And
rock.
I'm talking literally. I know those of you all listen to the podcast can't see this, but if you're watching live, it's literally like this.
like a little bit
It's
like bigger than a
huge.
golf ball.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was big and uncooked, so it's not going to mash up when it hits my throat.
Yeah.
I don't care. I didn't know it was undercooked, first off. I'm expecting to be served at least something cooked.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So I go to swallow that, and it literally lodged in my throat.
So you
And-
don't even touch carrots like
No,
ever
I had
since
to have
then.
the Heimlich maneuver. Like, I was, like, my mom was freaking out.
You remember this?
Absolutely. I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Oh,
A carrot
8 or 9.
offended him. He will always remember
Yeah,
this.
I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I choked on this carrot and had to be given the Heimlich maneuver. I mean, I like, seriously, it was traumatizing.
Yeah.
So I can't even look at a carrot now. I just, dude, seriously. So carrots, but they at least don't smell terrible when you make them.
Yeah.
But like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, I mean, it's like,
I think my fear associated with food is that I'm going to muster up the courage to try something again that I really dislike, and then I'm going to end up choking on it and dying from it.
well, my biggest fear is puking. Like when it comes to that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
When Meghan and I were dating, we went to a Japanese restaurant for Jenna's birthday, and this is when I was first getting to know the family, I think. Mm-hmm. I hadn't been around that long. I was back home, so we had been together for a while, but we were still getting to know each other. We went to this, and they love sushi. Like Meghan and her sister love sushi.
Yeah.
I don't get it whatsoever because it's like a combination of pretty much everything I don't like at all
Rice
put into one.
and fish.
And so they finally convinced me. They're like, "Oh, you got to try it." Well, this particular one was called a Philly roll, which means it's got the rice on the outside.
Yeah.
It's got some sort of fish.
no fish.
No fish.
No fish in the Philly roll.
It's got
Oh.
cream cheese in it, right?
got-
It's got
Cold-
cream
it's got cream
cheese, which I
cheese.
don't like cold cheese at all.
Yeah, it's got to be melty.
Yeah, it's got to be melted, and I definitely don't like cream
And
cheese.
it has
Goodness
avocado
gracious.
in it.
So all this stuff. So all the stuff that I absolutely do not like.
You don't like avocado?
No. Oh my goodness, we'll get into that. All rolled into one, and then
Can't wait to hear what the avocado did to you.
yeah. So Meghan convinces me to try it, and I'm like, well, I'll take a little bite of it or whatever. And she goes, no. Sushi's meant for you to eat it all at once. The way you get it all, all
Yeah,
this
all
stuff
the
is meant to be
flavors.
ate at once. It's supposed to be one bite. And I'm like, all right, well, these things aren't that small.
Yeah.
And so it's got cold cheese, it's got rice, it's got avocado, all this stuff I don't like. I'm like, oh, of course, I'll just like it if we put it all together in one big bite. And so I eat this. I eat this big thing. We're sitting at the hibachi grill
Some kind of
in
magic
front of
combination.
me, and I'm telling you, I almost puked in front of her family. Jenna's birthday on this grill where they're getting ready to prepare our dinner. I almost puked because I'm like trying to take this huge bite, and oh my gosh, it was so bad. So I don't understand sushi whatsoever because I don't like fish, let alone, I mean, why not cooked? Just
Yeah.
that sounds ridiculous to me.
It's delicious. It's
I
fantastic.
don't get it. And it literally is. Sushi is a combination of most of the things that I hate the most when it comes to food.
Yeah. Now, do you kind of getting off the food talk? Actually, we got to hear about your avocados.
I don't like avocados because they look like stuff that came out of my children's diapers. That's what it reminds me of.
Even if you put like sliced avocado?
Yeah, it's all that baby poop green, all of it.
Don't associate food with poop.
Well, that's what it looks like to me. Like when we were in Orlando last week, we were eating with my cousin. That's just like saying
you can't eat chocolate pudding.
No, that doesn't look at all like that.
Well, it doesn't have to be baby poop. It could be adult.
In Orlando last week, Meghan and my cousin got this big thing of tableside guac.
Yeah.
It was delicious, by the way.
Goodness gracious. It just looks so gross.
Have you tried it?
No.
I'm not going to. I can't put that in my mouth. Because, again, I'm afraid of puking.
Yeah.
Like, this is my problem. When I go on mission trips, I have legit anxiety about this. Because I always know I'm going to get invited into someone's home. And I don't want to offend somebody. But literally, I have, like, the worst gag reflex that you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes just taking pills, like, if I got to take Tylenol or something, I gag. I don't know why. So, like, when I put food in my mouth that I do not like, I just can't do it. And the older I get, the more of a germaphobe I'm becoming. Like, I'm getting real weird about, like, people's homes. So, like, going into someone's home, especially in a third world country where they're making this food and the cooking conditions and living conditions are not, like, real good. Like, but then it's, like, offensive not to eat it. And so, like, I have legit, like, problems when I go on mission trips. Because of that, like when Cheryl and I went to Ecuador this past January, I got invited into these people's home, and they were just so proud of all the stuff that they were serving us, and I just felt so bad because, like, the other kid that's with me, he's like 19 years old. He's just fired up about life, you know.
Yeah.
And he's just pounding this food. The other guy is from Ecuador. He's one of the leaders of the trip, so he's eating it, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like trying to move the food around enough to where it looks like I'm getting in there, you know. But I just can't because I don't know what the meat is whatsoever. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then of course it's got rice and lentils and all this stuff. I don't want no part of any of that.
Yeah.
So between the weirdness that I have about different foods, and then now I'm like to the point where, like, cleanliness and germs and stuff, like, it just freaks me out. So I'm getting even worse on, like, all of this stuff. The older I get, it's got to be fun to be married to me.
Yeah, it is.
What are some things that you just like shake your head with whenever, like, it could be anything, like you're just like, oh, not again?
I'm just like par for the course. Because, I mean, and I knew all of this, like, seriously, he had not tried ranch dressing until he met me.
What?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Because
Did you go like 23 years?
No, he was 20.
Because y'all been married.
21.
You're 21 whenever y'all met? You went 21 years without tasting ranch?
Well, he never ate salad.
Well, no, I didn't.
So, at that point, you hadn't eaten salad.
Grape salad.
I had eaten salad, but, like, just not very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he tried ranch dressing with pizza because that's how I eat my pizzas with ranch dressing.
Yeah.
And
I do like ranch.
He finally decided that he likes ranch.
But now I do love Caesar salad. That's my jam.
Because it has no vegetables except for the lettuce.
Yeah, because I like croutons. But now on the ship last week when we were on the cruise, their Caesar salads sucked, so I didn't eat them.
And I've mentioned this to you, and you said you don't care about the anchovies that are in the dressing as long as you can't flat out taste them.
Yeah, like we remember that day that we went to lunch as the staff. We went to Logan's.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to talk bad about. So I'm sure people love it. Well, they have too fishy of a Caesar dressing. I cannot do it there.
Yeah,
but if you go to the new Texas Roadhouse, they've got the best grilled chicken Caesar salad that you'll ever have in your life. It's properly dressed, man. You got to have a lot of dressing on lettuce because, honestly, there's nothing to it. Lettuce is just useless. It's just green water. Like, that's all it is.
It's good for you.
Yeah, but it's just green water. So that's why when you go to Texas Roadhouse, they got a killer because their croutons are fire. The chicken is amazing. The Caesar dressing is delicious. and it's ample.
Yeah.
And then you don't even feel like you're eating a salad.
Yeah. I think all the extra stuff kind of defeats the purpose of eating a salad.
Nah. No, trust me, because I could do way worse.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so.
Now, are there things that that you have legitimate fears of? I know that we've talked about some things that you just don't like, but are there some things that you just constantly have in the back of your mind, and you're like, I hope this doesn't happen because I'm deathly afraid of this?
Some of which I will not share, but I am legitimately afraid of heights.
Really?
Yeah. Like, when I climb up on stuff, stuff's when I'm looking down, it starts to shake.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's because I'm afraid of heights or because my body's actually shaking, but everything looks like it's shaking whenever I climb up high on something.
Yeah, so I made him, the last time we were at Kings Island, I made him go up to the top of the Eiffel Tower.
I did not like that. Now, I'll do roller coasters.
Yeah, because you're strapped down. Or whatever.
I'm fine with roller coasters, but when we had to go up, she wanted to go up on the top of the Eiffel Tower there. I literally had to stand with my back just up against the wall. I wouldn't even get close to the edge. If we're in a hotel room that we're up really high, if it's got that floor to ceiling type window where you're looking straight down, you can count me out.
Really?
I'm gonna ask to move rooms.
Really?
Yeah.
No, he won't.
I would.
Or just keep the window blinds closed, right?
That too, because I'm.
We stayed at a
terrified of
hotel in
heights.
Vegas the night before we left. This was last year, and it looked out over where the airport was, and we stayed up on a really high floor. And he was I tried to open the blinds once just because I don't have those same fears.
Yeah.
And even more so, I'm not I maybe call me a bad wife. I don't comply with his fears. So when he's afraid of something
not.
or doesn't like something, I'm don't care. I'm not you. And so I have things that I like and that I enjoy, and me opening these blinds is not going to kill you. So I'm going to open them and I'm going to enjoy the view.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah, I
did
do
not
not
like
like
that
it.
at all.
Now, what about sitting in a aisle, a window seat in an airplane?
I don't mind it. I'll sit wherever on an airplane. I don't like flying though.
Yeah.
The whole process of it irritates me. The fact that I have to show up 2 hours early, and then one of the things that really irritates me is I have to take my shoes off to go through security.
Yeah.
Now I understand it's for everyone's safety. Don't send me messages how dare you. I understand why we do it. I just don't like the process whatsoever of showing up 2 hours early. And then on the one day that we show up 2 hours early, it's oh, there's no line. So you get to sit in the most expensive place on earth for 2 hours. And it's I want to go get a drink. It's yeah, $17.50, please. Excellent.
Yeah.
I think when we got off the plane, we thought we had to kill some time before our shuttle last week. And we just got a sandwich. I don't even think I got a drink.
No.
And it was $17 or $18.
Just for you?
Just for me, for a sandwich in the airport.
Goodness.
Down in Sanford. I'm this is stupid. So that whole process of flying irritates me because you show up early just to sit there and wait. And then there can be delays. There can be mechanical issues or all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I just don't like it. I don't like the process whatsoever.
I actually like flying out of Charleston, though, because, it's not a very big – we have, 2 terminals
Yeah.
here. And so, I feel like every time I walk in, it's – you go through TSA, and it's such a quick process. I feel like the last time I flew out to go hang out with my family in Texas, it was, they were waiting for me. They're like, Mr. Bodker, you brought your wife and your kids, and we're so excited to see you. We've actually been talking about this all week because it seems like nobody flies in and out of there. It's they're waiting.
We're international now.
It doesn't matter. We're not that international. You can't get on
We're only
there and go to
international
Paris.
because of FedEx.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all shipping stuff.
Don't rain on the parade.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
But I don't like the whole process of it because you can end up waiting forever. And then, honestly, if you got to show up 2 hours early,
Yeah.
and then let's say you have a 2 hour delay and then you have a 2 hour flight, I could drive most places that I ever want to go that quick
Yeah.
for a fraction of the cost. And I'm not stuck sitting next to someone that I don't know normally
Yep.
that I don't want to be touching elbows with. Like that's what bothers me so much is when I have to sit next to people that I don't know. And it's like, I'm a big dude, all right? And like normally, like the way that here's how luck goes for big folks in life. We're going to get sat right next to other big folks, okay? And then everyone is just uncomfortable the whole time. Or if you get sat next to a small person, then you feel bad for being big. You know what I'm saying? Because you're like on top of them. Like, sorry, excuse me, but you are small, you know? So like,
I feel like people, like, whenever they see that they're going to be sitting next to me, they're like, is this your seat?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting right here.
They see me come and they're like,
are you kidding me?
Can I switch? Can I switch?
But I'm the guy that feels like, because if I sit next to a big person, like I'm kind of like sitting like at a side.
Let me do you a favor, buddy. The whole thing is just miserable.
Or I'm leaning forward.
It. Like I just all of it about flying. Like I just would most of the time I would prefer to drive. Now I did like when we were coming back from Florida, we had a 6:20 flight. 6:20 a.m.
Yeah.
Other than having to wake up at 4 a.m. to get there, there was no line. We went right there, and we got there like 20 minutes before we boarded.
Yeah.
And we were back home in Charleston by 8:20. Okay, now I can't drive from Sanford to there in 3 hours. Okay, that was nice, but that was only because there was no issues, right? There was no issues. My buddy coming home, when he came home from Florida, he was in the airport for like, I don't know, 12 hours that day to take a 2-hour flight.
That's insane.
And so I'm like, no, see, I don't want to do that. So I'm afraid of heights. Flying doesn't bother me. It just irritates me, which is probably like a mantra of my life.
Yeah.
Most things don't scare me necessarily. They just irritate me.
Yeah. Are you claustrophobic?
I'm getting that way.
Really?
Yeah. And I've probably been that way my whole life. Not so much like confined spaces because I don't really mess around with confined spaces. But like if you trap my arms down or something like that, like I will freak out legitimately. That's like when the kids come and lay on me. If I can't move my arms and legs, I will freak out on a kid like that because it pins me down. And Landon is a cuddler, dude.
Yeah.
Landon is such a cuddler, and it drives me insane. And then I feel like such a bad dad because I don't like people touching me.
Yeah.
Right. And every time I say this publicly, people like find it so funny to come up and hug me at church the next time that they see me. They'll be like, I know that you hate hugging, but and like, okay, whatever. You know, I'm not going to like turn you away or be rude to you or whatnot, but I don't like being touched. And that even like,
I know you've given me the look a couple times because whenever we're cutting up or something like that, I like to, like touch people on the shoulder or whatever. Yeah. Every time I'll say like a joke and we're all laughing and you say something really funny and I'm like, oh, dude, that was the best comeback or whatever. And then like I'll touch you on the shoulder and you're like, you give me the look. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I'm not supposed to touch you.
Bro.
That's the type of look like. So this will lead right into the next thing that I'm not afraid of it necessarily. It just irritates me.
Yeah.
Is talking to strangers or really strangers talking to me. Like we were talking about this morning. Like when we were traveling last week, it was like if I was walking through a store, if I got onto an elevator, I'm just walking by people. They're like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like,
dude, you would hate Texas. Like everybody in Texas is like, "Howdy doody, partner."
Yeah,
you're like, I don't know. I don't want to howdy doody nothing.
This is one of those things about me, like where I'm so introverted and awkward that way. I'm always like asking the Lord. I'm like, why in the world did you call me to ministry? Like, no, like, because normally all the pastors I know are like these really friendly, outgoing people that could strike up a conversation anywhere with somebody.
Yeah.
And then like Megan and I were in the hot tub this past week on the ship hanging out. There's like a bunch of people in there, and I'm not making this up at all. We're sitting in there, everything's fine because this group of people over here is talking to themselves, this group of people talking to themselves, and Megan and I are in the middle. Well, just on and on and on, everybody starts talking. Well, then eventually there's a conversation that comes up that Megan wants to chime in on. And first off, I'm like, don't talk to people we don't know. Don't jump in that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to get out. So like we go get out, and she's like, I was finally getting ready to talk to everybody. I said, I know everybody was getting too chummy in here, so I had to get out. Like everybody started talking and all that, so I just had to get out of there, man. Because I was like, next thing I know, I'm gonna be talking to these strangers. I don't want to be talking to these strangers.
Yeah.
Which is such a weird thing for a pastor to say, because I know that, like, and again, if people talk to me, I'm not going around just like being rude to people.
For sure.
You'll be able to know that I'm just awkward, like when it comes to that stuff. And I don't know why, because I was not like this when I was younger. Like, I could talk to people. Like, when we first met, I don't think I was like this.
Everybody loved you.
Like, I was not like this when I was younger.
It gets worse for me, too.
Yeah, the older I get, I'm like, I don't know how I can get up on Sunday and speak for 45 minutes, look like I got my stuff together.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you talk to me after church, literally, like, you might come up and go, that was a great sermon, Pastor. I'll be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like it'll be super awkward, or I'll respond to something that you didn't even say. Yeah, it is hot in here, ain't it? It'll be so awkward. I'll be like, I just like eloquently spoke for 45 minutes, and then if you see me on the sidewalk and you be like, Pastor, I'm like, oh.
Is that the same person?
Yeah, it is. Like, people have told me, they're like, once we got to know you outside of your preaching ministry, they're like, it's like a different person. It's like there's a switch that gets flipped when you go to preach that is not flipped the rest of the day.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I don't know what to say. So I try to avoid conversation, because I swear sometimes I feel like, you already know, like, random stuff comes out of my mouth, and this is with people that I talk to. I mean, we've heard it for the past year and a couple of weeks on this podcast. But I feel like if I go up and talk to somebody, like, in the congregation, I'm like, so you go to Southridge, right? Like, it's that type of stuff that comes out of my mouth.
Yep.
And Erica just sits there and laughs at me. She's like, what is your problem? And I just don't. So I try to avoid it.
Which is weird, because I'm telling you, when I was growing up, I had no issues making friends whatsoever. Not awkward in elementary, middle school, high school, college, especially not. Like, totally came out of my shell in college. And now as an adult, it's like I forgot how to talk to people. Like, I just when someone talks, like, outside of the church setting, man, I get nervous as all get out.
Yeah.
And it baffles me. So, like, it's not like I'm trying to be rude to people. I literally just, a lot of times, I'm so uncomfortable talking to strangers. And now some of the stranger thing also, and this is the stuff, we're not going to get much into it, but some of this is, I have anxiety stemming from our house being broken into. Yeah. And so that caused a deep distrust of people in general. Yeah. Just like to the point where, like, when I leave the house, I just assume that everyone that I don't know is possibly someone that would try to harm my family or something like that. Yeah. And so I just have a deep distrust of people that I don't know. So it's very hard for me to get to know people or trust that their intentions are good or anything like that. Yeah. And so I'm very, very, very guarded in that area as well. And so, like, I'm like nuts when it comes to, like, those little scam texts that people send out. Like, I'm like the watchdog in our house, even on Meghan's phone. Yeah. I'm like, why haven't you deleted this? Delete this right now. Like, what's this message about? Like, because I don't know, that stuff just, or if someone legitimately, actually one time, my dad sent me, what was it?
It was tax information.
Yeah, like my dad does our taxes, and he sent me something from H&R Block for me to start filing my return digitally. And I thought it was a scam, so I deleted it. I'm telling you, I'm just like on my guard when it comes. If a text comes from a number I don't know, my guard is up immediately.
Oh, I block that number. If I don't know, if they don't say who it is.
It's this thing that's talking about my taxes, and I'm like, oh, yeah, nice try, fella. And so right after I delete that text, my dad calls me. He goes, hey, did you get that text I sent you to start filing your return? I'm like, oh.
Can you send it again?
Yeah, I'm going to need you to send that again. Like, so I'm really, really weird about that. Or, like, any sort of digital communication, email type stuff. Yeah. I am a nut about it. Yeah. Like,
Now, do you like with ministry? Obviously, there's a lot of like risk taking, and I wouldn't say like it's very calculated because we try to go over all of the P's and the Q's and make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and we try to. But there's some risk whenever we try something new, and we're trying to approach ministry in a new and exciting way. Do you have like a fear of failure whenever we try something new here at the church?
So if we're going to get like deep and personal, my issue
I'm going with
my issue
with
when in that realm is not about a fear of failure. I have like deep insecurity issues that I badly need the Lord to heal. So it's more that. Yeah. It's not so much fear of failure, but more fear of looking like a failure. Yeah. Where that would touch the most for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to need a shrink if we could have done that path.
Yeah. This just
get your therapist on the phone.
Yeah. I'm not qualified to help out with that. But one of the things that I was thinking of is like so often, like, even if we all kind of like agree to like introduce a new song and something falls flat, like there was a song that we introduced earlier this year that just kind of fell flat, and it's kind of, I need to delete it from our lineup that we have in Planning Center, which is our scheduling app and everything. But I think for me is that I don't want to ever kind of get in the way of what I'm feeling like the Lord is kind of leading me towards. And so like the risk taking and trying just to be obedient in that aspect is something that I'm like learning like in leaps and bounds, just because I just haven't had the opportunity to be trusted to make decisions.
Yep.
And so just actually trusting the Lord. And so in that, for me, there's like a big fear of failure.
Yeah.
And some of it comes from a personal side to where I don't want to look like a failure, but I think a lot of it comes from, I don't want the volunteers or the church to look like a failure either. And I think that the more that I rely on God, the more that I know that even if something does fall flat, like I still feel prideful of it because I tried it.
Yeah.
Right? Is that making sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I don't worry so much about, like, I like that we're at a church that literally we might try something. If it doesn't work, we'll just try something else.
Yeah.
That stuff really doesn't bother me. Mine would be more like if we go at something all together, I'm totally cool with it. Yeah. Mine's more like whenever I have to stand alone on something.
Yeah.
That I feel very vulnerable, because in that moment it's not like the team tried it or the church tried it. Yeah. Like it's me. And so that's not fear of failure, because I know there's such a positive thing that happens when we fail. In fact, like if we're not failing, we're probably not trying to really push the envelope and innovate and make things better. Mine really is tied to deep insecurity issues, which, again, we talked about this on some podcasts. Like literally, when I would meet with my counselor, like we got to the root. Like that is my biggest problem. That's my biggest area of brokenness, is actually just imposter syndrome. Like feeling like some of it comes back to this quirkiness that we're sitting like, this is a light and funny podcast today compared to what I normally do with you. But like on a serious note, like some of that quirkiness and stuff is the reason why I feel like an imposter a lot of times. Yeah. Because I'll be like, God, I swear you have to have the wrong person. Like, why do you not have some like fun, energetic, bubbly person at the front of your church? Like, why do you not like? Why would you choose someone that's like cantankerous old man in a 35-year-old body? That's like why? Like, to me, I'm just like, it baffles me, God, that I have all of these all this weirdness to me that looks like on the surface, and then it kind of feeds that imposter syndrome. And I'm sure everybody has somewhat of that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
But it's like I think it's heightened for young leaders though, and I think it's something that, as from what I've heard from people, like you grow out of it. Like at some point you just finally, and I'm starting to get more comfortable with who I am and how God made me. Like, okay, maybe for whatever reason God wants me to be in charge of this church and in ministry, but he just didn't choose someone fun and bubbly and all that to be that person. He just chose me, and so I got to be okay with that. But yeah, I just, so I think it's good to fail. But I think my issue is probably being perceived as a failure.
Yeah.
Probably because that's kind of the first half of my life, kind of the path that I was on, like I thought I was headed there anyways.
Yeah.
So it's still mind blowing to me, that God has asked me to do this, given the fact that I'm this, the way that he made me, I'm like,
well, I think it's in the right environments that you thrive as well.
Yeah.
Obviously for me, I can't go and do what God has asked me to do if I'm having to work at a bar. So, right, just like kind of like an analogy here. But if I'm put in the right environment, then I'm here to thrive and succeed. Yeah. And so I think that God has put you in the right environment that you are succeeding in, and that you are thriving in. I think that maybe later on in life, God's going to put you in like Boston, Massachusetts or something to where everybody there is just grumpy and angry.
Then you complain that they were all too grumpy.
I would, because people that are wired like me also irritate me.
That was the ultimate full circle.
You're going to go up there and you're going to be like, I feel like Jared up here. Jeez. Like these people are really angry.
I want to be the only grumpy person.
Yeah.
Right? I want everyone else to, and this is something Meghan experiences all the time. Like, as my spouse, like, she'll even ask me, like, why is it that, like, you can have a bad day, but, like, I can't even have a bad 5 minutes? Well, that's because I want to be the only grumpy person around. Two grumpy people, that makes everything miserable.
Yeah.
Right? One, like in my mind, one grumpy person, that's just kind of the...
Oh, dude, throw grumpy kids on top of that? Oh man.
When all four of us are having a grumpy day, it's a rough go around.
Daddy, come pray with me. I love you. You're all yelling at each other.
Yeah.
I prayed with you 10 minutes ago and I love you. Yeah, I've had those moments where I've like yelled like stuff like I want my kids to know that I'm like, okay, look, like we've done this same song and dance for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm tired of it.
I need to yell I love you to where you still know that I love you, but I still get my point across that I'm very grumpy and angry.
Do not say another word, but I love you.
Yeah. All right, dude, mystery meat time.
Uh-oh.
Let's get to it.
While we're on the topic of things that I don't like, you can add this to the list.
That sound. Oh, mystery meat?
Yeah, and that sound. Yeah, that's true.
You don't like
There's a lot of sounds that I really don't like. That would be a whole nother podcast.
Oh,
I actually was thinking about this because, I'm like, there's got to be... Do I just not like things and I'm just not admitting it? Because... He's laughing at the mystery meat.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's probably something that you hate. But I've wondered this. Is it just like me? I don't like things as much as he doesn't like things, but I'm just not admitting it to myself.
Yeah.
No. That is not the fact. He just literally doesn't like anything.
No, that's not true. I like all sorts of things.
We'll say the majority of things.
Getting to know Scott, I'm like genuinely surprised he offered me the job here.
I just like what I like, and I'm very vocal about it.
And you're not open to what you don't like.
Because I like what I like.
Yeah.
And I'm vocal about what... I'm a big cheerleader for things that I like. I am.
But if there was a pie chart,
like, look, when I started when Jed Warline got me drinking Bang energy drinks, how many people around here did you see drinking Bang energy drinks afterwards? A ton. When we started drinking Alani Nu, I didn't know Anna was drinking it first, but she doesn't publicize it like that. But then I started seeing people posting about Alani Nu. When I like something, I am a avid cheerleader.
I guess that does mean that you can trust
when
he says he likes something.
I am an avid cheerleader for it. Like, when I'm telling you, when we got done with that Japanese restaurant last week on the ship, I wanted to go tell every stranger I came in contact with that they need to go eat at this restaurant.
Do you do that for Jesus?
Yeah, I'm the things that I like. I am super big cheerleader for, but I'm also the things that I don't like.
Yeah,
I'm also very vocal about that.
We don't like Satan.
All right. Are you ready for this question?
No.
What's the best type of cheese?
Best type of cheese?
That's the question.
American. I don't know why they make anything other than that, to be honest.
No, you're crazy. I think it has its place, like in grilled cheese sandwiches.
It has its place.
But like,
I don't understand any other cheese than American.
You don't like Parmesan Reggiano?
All right. Now we're getting into some different. Okay, when it comes to pasta, yeah, I want Parmesan or the Reggiano, whatever you just said.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it is.
Parmigiano
Reggiano.
Well, there's something else then, because I was just watching a show it was what he was shredding was that, and he said it's way better than Parmesan.
It was probably Pecorino.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
Pecorino Romano.
Yeah.
Ray Romano's brother, right? That was a bad joke. That's a jar.
Yep, that was $1 in the jar.
Pecorino Romano, he says that's the good stuff.
Yeah.
And that Parmesan is like garbage stuff. It was on Guy Fieri's Triple D. I love that show.
Yeah, that's a good
love that show.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, I mean, yeah, when you go to
He doesn't like any other type of like deli cheese.
No. Like if
Swiss,
you're talking about sandwiches,
provolone.
I'm just talking American cheese. And I'll be honest, I do get fussy when there's not American cheese in the house, because Meghan likes all these different funky cheeses and stuff, and she'll just put a Monster or whatever on a sandwich.
Munster.
Yeah, I know. But it's fun. It's Halloween time. Monster.
Yeah.
Or like just any of this like nasty cheese, Swiss cheese.
That's
Jesus,
another
help
$1.
us!
That's another $1.
Yeah. Just all of that crazy cheese. Like, no.
It's not crazy cheese.
First off, I'm not putting cheese on a sandwich unless it's a hot sandwich, because
Yeah.
cold cheese literally makes me gag. Like just a cold piece of cheese. Like when I watch our kids eat, they get those cheese sticks. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, string cheese.
Yeah, God, that is just nasty to watch.
What? It's just cheese.
Oh, it's gross. Oh, I can't stand it. It's just
Seriously, the dinners that I've made in the last probably 2 years.
Well, time out. To his defense, you started putting blue cheese and stuff with
That was
fungus.
one time.
Goodness
I did blue
gracious.
cheese and mashed potatoes one time.
I
It
know.
gave it a nice tang.
no, it did.
Besides the point,
Nice tang.
you
Clorox has a nice tang, but I don't want to put it in my food.
well, those are two different things. One
The
is to
blue-
be consumed and
All
one
right,
is
blue
not.
cheese all on its own is disgusting.
Yeah. Well, it's the blue that's in there, the quote unquote blue.
Here's the problem.
It's the fungus.
When I ask what's for dinner, and she says, "Oh, I'm making Salisbury steak." Is that what it was?
I don't remember.
Salisbury steak or something like that. That you expect that you're getting mashed potatoes with it. It's one of the mashed potato meals.
Yeah, that's a mashed potato
Yeah,
meal.
you know for sure you're getting mashed potatoes and gravy with that Salisbury steak. So I am pumped because that is one of my favorite meals.
Yeah.
Now, so just imagine being really, 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 really excited for dinner, because some nights I'm not very excited for dinner because that's not always the answer. Oh, we're having, whatever it might be. It might be, oh, we're having something plain. It's fine, but it doesn't get me excited. The Salisbury steak with mashed potatoes and gravy, I am pumped. So it's not just that there's blue cheese in my mashed potatoes.
And a green bean puree.
For hours, I have been pumped for this dinner.
He got mad at me.
Oh, I was furious. I'm not joking.
We were in a fight for a
I was
couple of
furious
hours
because I was so excited for these mashed potatoes.
And
then
brought
when
it to work.
When I go to eat it, I'm like, and Megan's a great cook.
Yeah.
So it's very rare for me to take a bite and be like, unless I already know I don't like it to begin with, for me to take a bite
Which
and
is
be
often.
like, and I'm like, oh my word, what is going on? So the first thing I think is
It needs more salt.
it needs salt. So I go over and I'm salting these bad boys. I take a bite. That's still more salt. How about some pepper? So I'm just salting and peppering these things up. And I keep tasting. I'm like,
I bet that was real gross.
I cannot fix these potatoes. So I'm like, more gravy. I still cannot get rid of this taste. And I'm like, what? Like, Megan, what is wrong?
It was steak.
Oh, okay, yeah, we were having steak. I'm like, Megan, what is wrong with these mashed potatoes? Like, I can't fix them no matter what I do.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I put blue cheese in them. And I'm like, I wanted to explode in that moment. I'm like, wait a second. So something that we don't eat ever as a family.
Yeah.
Like, we do not eat blue cheese. Not on chicken wings, not on salads. We don't eat blue cheese.
Yeah.
Something that we don't eat that starts off moldy.
Was it a blue cheese dressing that you put in there?
It's just blue cheese.
Just the crumbles.
Blue cheese crumbles. We don't eat it. You know I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's literally molded cheese, and you put it in my dinner. I literally was so upset because I'm like, I don't understand. I would liken that to trying to poison your spouse.
Yeah.
Right? Like
He literally said that to me.
like blue cheese in mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, and I'm sure she saw it on the Food Channel or some Pinterest
No, I
blog.
saw it on Blue Bloods.
Even worse. Why would you get a recipe from some drama show?
It
It
was
sounded
so bad.
good.
So yeah, like when it comes to cheese,
Things I hate as recipes from drama shows.
yeah, we're 0 for 1 there. Yeah, cheese. As far as sandwiches go, be American or be nothing. Right? That's just.
I feel like that's very offensive. I like all the cheeses of the world.
I know you do. So like if I'm having Italian, yeah, of course I want
Red and yellow, black and
One of
white,
those-
they are precious in my sight.
I want
all
one of
are.
those
All
that
the
we said
cheeses
All the
earlier.
of
cheeses.
the
The
world.
Pecca Romano or the Parmesan, I want that with Italian. Of course, I want like the white cheese or nacho cheese or something if I'm having
Nachos.
Mexican food, something like
Or
that.
nachos.
Which
Yeah,
is
nachos.
actually
Like the ballpark
white
nachos.
American cheese.
Yeah, but if you go to Texas, they use yellow.
Well,
But it's
Yeah.
yellow American cheese, ain't it?
No, I don't know.
I don't
It's no, it's just called cheese. Like it comes in a big
So-
can, it comes in a big
yeah.
can like this. It's just
So
hey, do you want some cheese? You're
yeah,
like, what
that's
kind
like
of
American
cheese?
cheese's
It's just
brother.
cheese.
Yeah, they're it's definitely related to American cheese. Like, but outside of that, like like when you go to a party and people have a cheese tray,
Yeah, like
they're
charcuterie.
like little cubes.
Yeah.
I don't
just
get
a
that
simple
at
cheese
all.
tray.
You don't get that?
No, why do you want to put a cold cube of cheese in your mouth? I just don't get that. I don't.
We're gonna end on that note.
No, gosh, I feel like we have to end on like a high note because like I feel
This is a podcast of things that he hates.
yeah.
What high note are we ending on?
I don't know. I don't know. Oreos and milk.
I had those last night. Love them.
See,
But I'll
hey,
tell you this much.
So long.
About a month ago, somehow we ended up with single stuff.
I was just about to say, God forbid there's single stuff Oreos.
We ended up with the single Oreos in our house. I don't even know what sort of witchcraft this is that brought that
I
into
don't
our
like
home.
Oreos, so I didn't buy
Just
them.
regular single Oreos.
Dude, ask your sister. She's been house sitting for you.
Well, no, this was like a month ago.
Oh,
Before
okay,
that.
a month ago.
No, my sister's the one that left the double stuff because we were raised on double stuff. We don't eat that single stuff. Are you kidding me? Like what?
I didn't
is
buy
the
them.
I don't even know where they came from, to be honest. But I was pounding them,
Yeah.
right? But like you have to pound them because there's not enough cream in them.
Yeah, well, I don't. There needs to be a Oreo between regular stuff and double stuff.
What?
There's
Like
not
one and a
enough
half
in the
stuff?
single stuff. Yeah, like a 1.5 stuff.
No,
And the
wanna
mega
get a
stuff is
triple.
way too much stuff.
Nah, sign me up.
Oreos need to go away forever.
See, she doesn't like Oreos. So see, I'm not the only one that doesn't like stuff in life.
Yeah.
And
they're-
but the
my
stuff that she
list
doesn't like doesn't even make sense.
It's really small.
Who doesn't like double stuffed Oreos?
I don't like Oreos at all.
That's
I don't like
weird.
mayonnaise and I don't like mushrooms. That is it.
Mayonnaise is amazing.
And I only don't like mayonnaise when it's plain. If it's an aioli, love it.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
I'll eat mayonnaise, but I like Miracle Whip better.
I don't even like that.
No, you don't like Miracle Whip?
Miracle Whip is sour.
It's
Oh,
tangy.
Yeah, it's gross.
I love it.
This is all
No,
that's gross.
Seriously, if I go somewhere and we're having sandwiches, I'm pumped. If I find out that there's only Miracle Whip, I'm no longer pumped because I won't even eat.
Yeah.
Because I have to have mayonnaise on a sandwich. I have to.
That's where we differ.
And I won't eat the sandwich.
If there's not mustard,
if you take me on a picnic, you make me a sandwich with Miracle Whip or without regular mayonnaise, I just won't eat.
how about you just eat a sandwich
I just
without
won't do it.
anything?
Miracle Whip and Swiss cheese.
I will
won't
just
do it.
make a sandwich with cheese and
I'll
meat.
starve before I do that. Literally, we were out of mayonnaise for a
baffles
long
me.
time at our house, but we always had sandwich stuff. I just wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't just warm up some meat and put it on bread and just eat it?
No, that's too dry. You got to have the mayonnaise.
It's not. He's just
Yeah.
4
No, you got to have the mayonnaise.
4 years old.
I'm that serious about it.
Dude, game changer sandwich. I'm ready to blow your mind. We don't buy sliced bread anymore. Whenever
You
we
can already
make
tell I don't like this.
no, we put everything on hamburger buns.
The school does that, and it's amazing.
We do everything. Like if you want a grilled cheese, just the whole bun gets grilled. It's just. We found out that we were throwing away so much stinking bread because we would buy a loaf of bread and then half of it get eaten, the other half would just sit there and rot in our little cupboard pantry or whatever that we've got. But ever since we started doing everything on hamburger buns,
We always used buns growing up when we didn't have bread, but we wouldn't just do it on purpose.
no, yeah, we do it on purpose. Dude, like a ham and cheese sandwich.
Like on purpose?
Like,
Yeah.
seriously, if you haven't had a hot dog, actually, we would even do it in reverse as well. Like, if you haven't had a hot dog in a piece of bread, you didn't know what it was like to grow up poor in the 90s. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't know nothing about having a hot dog on a piece of bread,
Yeah.
then you don't know nothing about it.
Yeah. Now, were you a triangle folder? Did you fold it like a triangle or like a rectangle? You know what I'm saying?
I wanted it like a rectangle because I wanted bread throughout
The whole way
as
through,
much as
Yeah,
possible.
anybody else that does it, they're
Yeah.
lunatics.
Yeah, if you do it like a triangle and then you've only got bread on the middle of the wiener, that is ridiculous. What in the world are you doing
You
with
have
your
bread
life?
around the whole rest of the thing.
No, stop. No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if we did a couple more of these podcasts, I could fix a lot of the problems in the world. Right here, I'll just call these things out.
I don't like it because you're getting rid of fish and cheese, at least from
All
this
right,
episode.
why does fish have to be so flaky and why does it stink so bad? That's my thing.
It stinks so bad is because you're not getting fresh fish. Okay.
No, I've seen fresh fish and all of that. It's just nasty.
No.
It
And
just
the reason that
smells
it's
awful.
flaky. What do you think ground beef is? It's kind of flaky.
No,
like
it's
whenever
not.
Yeah, it is. It all
I've had
crumbles.
fish. I've had fish. Like, I've taken a bite of a fish before, and I'm telling you, when it separates, oh my gosh, that makes me
I
want to
love
gag
flaky
so
fish.
bad.
It's
That's how you know you got a well-cooked fish.
Yeah.
Is when it's flaky.
Well, it's.
No,
I don't even have to.
Don't
try to
even get
explain
into it with
Nope,
him.
I'm not.
it
because
smells
I feel,
terrible.
Because you're gonna lose.
If it smells
is what
terrible,
it is.
you've got bad fish.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I've been places where people are like, "Oh, this is great seafood," and I've smelled it, and it's awful.
If it's in Charleston, West Virginia, and you've had seafood,
I've been to the beach.
it's you could still get bad fish at
They
the beach.
had seafood on the boat. It all stinks. It all stinks. It all
Well-
throw it all back in the ocean.
It's not worth
Oh, I
it.
know, but if you go to the butcher shop, like where they're like cutting up the cow to all the different parts, that stinks too.
Nah,
Yes.
It does.
nah.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
It smells like America.
Smells like a
I'll tell you
dead
that
cow.
much.
Oh my gosh.
It smells amazing.
See everyone later.
I feel like we're polar opposites, you and I.
What? I just don't. Well, because you were pescatarian for a while.
Yeah, I did nothing but fish and
That
veggies.
makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah.
So no double stuffed Oreos on that one.
Well, actually, the Oreos are vegetarian.
Excuse me.
There is no dairy there's no dairy, no
Vegan.
nothing. It is a vegan Oreo.
What
it's
is
a
in
vegan
that cream then?
It's a vegan cookie.
Hydrogenated oil.
Yeah, it's a vegan cookie.
So you ate those on your pescatarian
Yeah,
diet?
it's vegan.
Huh.
Maybe you could be pescatarian.
I'm gonna be vegan this evening for dinner. Just
No, we're gonna have ramen for dinner.
although actually I couldn't do it because you can't have milk when you're vegan, can you?
Sure, why not?
I thought
no,
it
you
comes
can't
from
have
an
anything
animal.
that comes from an
Well, you
animal.
could be vegetarian. That's
No, I'm not gonna do that.
no, you could still.
Well, either way, I'm not
I'm
gonna
not drinking
have,
no stinking oatmeal. I'm not going to take oatmeal and make
I'm not getting
milk out
double
of it.
stuffed Oreos and having anything but 2% milk.
Yeah.
That's absurd. If you're eating cookies without milk, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
You must hate your mouth.
I just do not know. It's like not having mayonnaise on a sandwich. I just don't know what you're doing with your life.
If you've made it this far, we want to congratulate you. Ding, ding, ding. You're the proud new owner of, I don't know what else.
I do feel like this has
I'm
been...
trying to wrap this up.
No, I'm saying, I do, like, even though this has probably taken a hot minute, I feel like this encompasses everything that he hates.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
I guarantee there's
I don't
more.
know. Yeah, I don't know
like,
that we needed a part
But
two.
now I think that you can go and you can look at anything, movies or music or food or a restaurant or whatever, and you can be like, Scott would hate that. Because you now know the mind of Scott Bayhouse.
I don't know that you do.
He doesn't like green Gatorade.
There's green Gatorade?
Yeah, there's
That's
green
apple.
Gatorade. No, there's also a
goodness
cucumber
gracious. Now that's ridiculous.
That's
one. No, it's delicious.
yep. That just reminds me of Pine Sol.
Ugh,
I don't need that.
no good.
All right. In other news, like seriously, thank you so much for sticking with this. We hope that you've had a relaxing one, just to kind of take a step back, cut up for a little bit, just kind of embodying the spirit of the potluck, and that's just, you never know what you're gonna get. But don't forget that this Sunday we do have our trunk or treat. We want to invite everybody. Bring your family, your friends.
Your Framley.
Yeah,
Friendly.
you know what else I hate? My brain and words. My mouth and words.
Bring your Framley, please.
To the house of the Lord, and we're gonna have a good time.
Oh my goodness.
As we make it into heaven.
Oh, y'all are trying to trigger me. All right, I'm closing this up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. And you can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.